Whew. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. I'm a few minutes late. Hey, Gino. Good to see you, Gino. Oh my gosh. So, this proves that I'm not going to say I don't know what I'm doing, but these live streams are not easy to get ready for. I know I complain. I say the same thing every time I go live. Um, I had a little issue that I had to resolve. It's now I don't even know if it's totally resolved. So if I have to jump up and do something, anytime something like this happens, it never fails. Something always has to uh kind of go wrong. But you know what? I didn't let that stop me. So thank you guys for being here as you come in. Well, first of all, let me know if you can hear me okay. Hey, Win. This is a Broken Tradition slash Wins and Lessons podcast. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. I'm using a MacBook. Do I look okay? Let me know if I look clear. I'm using a MacBook. I'm proud of myself. I'm coming up in the world. So let me know if my video looks decent, if my audio sounds okay. And thank you. Hey, Danny, good to see you. And also, if you could drop in the chat where you are, like where you live. The quality is clear, audio is good. Perfect. What about the visual? How's the visual? And I don't mean how I look, even though if you want to give me a compliment, you can. I'm definitely giving African Queen tonight. But okay, thank you, Danny. Video is good too. Awesome. All right, Atlanta. Yeah, so let me know where you guys are, where you live at. And I don't want to waste too much time because I know I absolutely hate when I'm watching a live and they're like doing everything that I was just doing. I definitely like people to jump on in. So if you see me looking off to the side, I'm looking at my notes because I do have some notes. But I also want to make sure I am communicating with you all because I don't do this often. And honestly, every time once I'm on here, I'm so excited. But like the hours and moments leading up to it is like so crazy, and something crazy always happens, like what happened today. All right, Danny, you are from West Palm Beach, Florida. Oh, cool. I know it's hot there right now. I don't know who this person is. Hi, is it CY? You're in VA. Good to see you. All right, Gino, where do you live? Let me know where you live at if you're still there. Okay, so I am. Last time I did this, I really didn't have a whole lot to say, but this time I have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to try to actually take my time because I really don't have anywhere to go tonight. So I'm gonna take my time, but also I want to try to stay on topic. And I know how I am. I may not always stay on topic, so feel free to redirect me if I'm like getting off topic. But this talk is I'm going to be talking about accountability and what I am learning about accountability as it relates to being a Black woman. Hi, Crystal, showing love from Lake Charles, Louisiana. When I hear Louisiana, I think of food, like some of the best food, particularly in New Orleans. I don't know about Lake Charles, but thank you for being here. So, and I'm going to be interacting with you guys on and off. Sorry, this is a one of my favorite pieces that I wore for you all tonight, so hopefully you like it. um Accountability. So I'm gonna, again, like I said, sharing with you what I have been learning, what I've been noticing online, and yeah, just kind of talking about, I think that the topic is actually called Who Hurt You. And this is such an important topic because I have learned over the last several months who is hurting me. And I'm going to be getting into that. And if you see me fanning and waving, it's a fly. So I'm not crazy, but there's a fly issue that I tried to resolve, and it was just a hot mess. So one of the things that I have noticed that people like to blame, and please like this video as you guys come in if you can. People like to blame all types of things on their problems. So feel free to drop in the chat some of the things that you all have observed that I talk about Black women. So I'm just going to say that Black women, the things we blame our problems on, But I'm going to just give you some examples. And these are things that I have heard online. I'll go with one that the first one that comes to mind is the Tyler Perry movies. I'm hearing that, okay, the reason why you're single, the reason why you have it, the issues that you're having is because of Tyler Perry. And we all know, obviously, Tyler Perry got caught up in some scandals, but right before that, he dropped the movie. And I was hearing all these different reaction videos about his movies and how Tyler Perry is the problem. Another person that gets blamed is Laterris Whitfield from the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Laterris Whitfield is the problem. His podcast is the problem. The guests on his show, da 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 da. The black church gets blamed. I've heard the black, it's the black church, it's the pastor. They don't talk about the right topics. They don't know how to lead their congregation. That's another thing, another entity that gets blamed for the problems that black women are having. And the problems that I'm specifically referring to are related to being single or related to, being single, perhaps related to, marital issues and things like that, but related to relationships. What else? What are some other things that you guys can say that contribute to why black women are single, why black women are having a problem with relationships? I don't know. The media, So again, I'm just throwing out examples of things that we like to blame, people we like to blame. We want to blame Tyler Perry, the church, the pastor, Laterris Whitfield and his podcast. And, we want to cancel Laterris because of the guests that he had on and what they talked about. And it's like, that's wild to me because none of those people, in my opinion, are the problem. They're not the problem. Because last time I checked, Tyler Perry is where he's at because there's some folks who keep supporting his movies. I don't particularly support his movies. I mean, I've watched some of them, but I could care less about his movies having a bad impact on the black community because the primary supporters of Tyler Perry are black people. So why are we complaining? Laterris, again, same thing. His primary supporters are black women, not even just black people, black women. So then the question becomes, hi, S.A. Mac. You said, I blame Kendrick. Oh, Kendrick G. Oh, okay. Kendrick, is that the one that has the, what is it called? The dating show? I think that's the one with the dating show. He says, naked speaking those facts, people make excuses for yes. Thank you, Gino. Gino, you never said where you live. And S.A. Mac, where do you live? I live in Maryland, by the way. So I live in Maryland, DMV. So, and yes, I have bicycles in here. That's what you see back there. I didn't have time to move them. So people are blaming all these different things on their problems. And it's like we're ignoring the number one contributor to our problems. And I want you guys to guess. What do you think the number one contributor is to the problems that black women are having in their relationships? I'm not going to tell you right now. I want to see what you guys say real quick. What is the number one contributor, the biggest contributor, the biggest problem that black women, the biggest problem or the biggest thing that contributes to the problems that black women have in their relationships? What do you think? Oh, okay. You're in Frederick, Maryland. It says, I am a black man living in the burbs. Yeah, Frederick is way out there. Okay. But we're not too far. Hi, Taylor. Good to see you. You're in VA. You're very close. Oh, Gino, you're in St. Louis. I feel like maybe I didn't know that. Okay, Gino, you're saying Cynthia G is the problem. Yeah. Okay, that might have some weight. I haven't been following what's been going on with her lately, though. Crystal, you said, I think a lot of us need therapy. We have a lot of unresolved issues that need to be addressed. Yes, accountability is everything. Absolutely. Single friends. Okay, now we're getting closer. Single friend, that's from Wins and Lessons podcast. By the way, check out the Wins and Lessons podcast. I did actually watched some of your episode that you put out. I think it was today, and it was so good. I'm actually going to go back and comment. But Wins and Lessons podcast, you guys check it out. Unrealistic expectations, Danny Garrett. That's good. That's true. Gino says, I live in the, you said, oh, you joined late. Oh, you joined late. Okay, so you didn't see the early part. Oh, no worries, Gino. Hi, Brandon. Black women think people are lying to them. Yes. Well, that's say more about that, Brandon. All right. So the number one, you guys actually have some good guesses. The number one contributor this is just in my opinion, number one contributor to the problems that Black women are having in their relationships is Black women. You are the problem if you're a Black woman. I am the problem. I'm going to be talking about me. I know I'm the problem. We are our own problem. And we are the ones that hurt ourselves. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not true because when I was 5, so-and-so hurt me, or last week. Okay. Other people can do things to you. I'm not saying that other people can't do anything to you. That does happen. There are people who can hurt us. But this talk tonight is about how we hurt ourselves. And when it comes to relationships, particularly I'm talking about romantic relationships, our singleness, even if you're married and you're having marital problems, I'm not saying that your partner or your husband or whoever the other person is, I'm not saying that they are also not a contributor to your problems. I'm saying that oftentimes the number one contributor to your problem is you, is me. And I'm going to try to go slow and explain exactly what I'm talking about. So this is what I learned. I hit a low. By the way, I don't know if I think I've shared this. Since I've been on YouTube, I've had some really bad things happen to me. In my entire life, I've had a lot of bad things happening. But for some reason, in the last few years, I've been on YouTube for 3 years. In fact, I'm actually kind of celebrating. This is like my 3-year anniversary. I think I started my first YouTube video was published in July 2022. So this is pretty much my 3-year anniversary. But in the last 3 years, I've had a lot of challenges. And I hit a pretty big low earlier this year. Since then, all these things have been revealed to me, and that's essentially what I'm sharing with you all tonight. Oh, is it, I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Sacha? Hi, Sacha. And I apologize if I say your name wrong. Brandon's from ATL. Yes. Lauren, you were very close. Okay. So, and I'm looking at my notes here. I'm going to read a quote that I heard the other day, man. And this was like, it spoke to me. And this is not from me. This quote is from like the internet, but it says, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. The universe does not give you what you want. The universe gives you who you are. And that quote embodies the actions that as people, the actions that we need to take. So it's not about, well, I want this, but it's about who are you being to deserve that? Like women say, I want a God-fearing man. I want I want a man who's fit, who's fine, who's this, who's that, who has money and da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's what you want, but do people get what they want, or do they get who they are? Because oftentimes, whoever you're dating or whoever you're married to is a mirror of you. So when I saw that, I was like, ooh, this is good. So it's about actions. Who are you being in the world? How are you showing up? And that oftentimes, oh, hey, Dr. Thunder. Hey, thanks for being here. We have another what are we gonna call it? YouTube celebrity. We have a black YouTube celebrity. We got two of them, Dr. Thunder and the Wins and Lessons podcast. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So again, who are you being? So okay, sorry, I'm kind of getting confused with my own notes here, but one of the things that I'm going to be kind of going a little off script here, but just sharing some personal antidotes. One of the things that I struggle with is having this channel, not having this channel with regard to, like, I love this channel. I love what I do. But when I'm out in the real world, I'm always kind of like downplaying it. And my husband is so like wanting to put me out there. And, we went out to dinner and our waitress was a black woman. He was like, "Oh, my wife has a podcast, or she's a content creator." And, and then I'm always just like, and the reason why I do that is because I feel like a lot of my perspective and opinions, although some of you guys get it. Thank you so much. Thanks for the support, Lauren. I appreciate it. You guys, I feel like, understand me here, but out in the wild, a lot of times my perspective is not, I don't feel like my perspective is always valued. And I feel and I sense that there is some resentment, and these are even for people sometimes it's people I even know and love, some resentment that women have toward me because I have a channel like this. And you guys may say, well, that's weird, Nika, because you're not over here acting crazy. You ain't cussing nobody out. You're not, and that is true. But anytime you have a stance on accountability, I'm learning that it is a problem oftentimes for people. And an example would be someone I know who in casual conversation just kept bringing up my YouTube channel. And honestly, I don't talk about my YouTube channel. And like I said, I kind of downplay. I try to feel like I don't have a channel, because you got to be a certain type of person to, hear what I'm saying, and to, and to be, you have to have a certain level of maturity, and you have to actually be in a space where you're okay with being held accountable, right? Like, you have to, and sometimes it hurts. Like, to be, my husband is one person who challenges me a lot. And I'll tell you that to have someone like that in your life, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's so important. It's so important. Thank you so much, Dr. Thunder. Oh, look, I'm really getting some money tonight. Thank you. You said take some of my Samish money. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, and I'm going to get to you guys' comments here in a minute. But, Dr. Okay, you're saying you never talk in public about, exactly. Because it's like, it's crazy, because I wish I could be in a space where I could just be excited and, share my views, but the world is just not like that. So, like I said, I had an interaction recently with a woman, and like I said, my YouTube channel came up a couple times, and the tone was resentful. It wasn't like a positive, like, oh wow. No, it was very like, and it was like a what is that called? Like a jab. And I'm like, dang, like, I didn't even do nothing to this person. I ain't made no video about this person. Like, so there's a lot of things in my environment that let me know that, yeah, women don't like the accountability talk. And that's crazy, because as I was just talking about my husband who challenges me, I actually like accountability low key. Like, I have always been like I said, it's not easy, but like, there's a part of me that I kind of like it. Even this morning, I had said something yesterday, and my husband called me this morning and was like, yeah, you shouldn't say that because, and I won't get into the nature of it, but it was very much trying to shift my thinking. And even though it was, not an easy conversation to have, because what I said, I meant it, But I like being challenged. And what I've learned is that a lot of women don't. A lot of people don't. I'm not going to just put that on women, but right now we're talking about Black women. A lot of women are not interested in their views being challenged. So that always puts me in a particular bind to feel a little bit conflicted. And even though it's not going to stop me from what I'm doing, but it definitely makes it more difficult because I think you would assume that out in the real world, people would be cheering me on, like, yeah, nigga, go. No, not at all. Not at all. Not no, ain't nobody cheering me on. I'm not even gonna get into it, but this job can be very lonely. And like I said, my husband is like one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporters, even though he doesn't interact with YouTube. He uses another platform, but just in general, like he's very much the person telling me to like let my light shine. But that is not always the case in most spaces. And so that hurts. And that is honestly one of the things that, I'm going to get back into the relationship stuff, but I did want to share that, like, even the topic of who hurt you. And like, I started off by saying the biggest person that's hurting you is you. That applies to me too, with regard, not only within my marriage and stuff like that, but also just like in life. Because even with my channel, I'm kind of sometimes the biggest person that like I'll allow all these things to get in my head, which I'm not going to say it's going to make me stop doing, like talking about what I talk about, but it does sometimes trip me up a little bit. And then I start questioning myself. And then I start being like, oh, maybe, and it's like within the last couple months, okay, because this has a positive turn here. The last couple months, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna stop doing what I do just because it makes other people uncomfortable. Like, because again, we all have to be accountable. Like, even if something is triggering you, it is up to you, me, whoever, to figure out why you're being triggered. It is also up to you or me to, if you're being triggered, if it's bothering you that bad, don't engage with it. But you'll be so surprised how people who are triggered will continue to engage with the thing that's triggering them and then blame me. It's like, okay, well, I didn't make you click on the video. I didn't make you do none of that. I mean, I'm even to the point now on Instagram where I'm mainly posting my stories. Like, I'm so kind of like low key and exclusive with my stuff. I don't put my stuff on other platforms the way I used to. Like, I'm very much like, this is for whoever it's for, like, let me just set this right here. Whoever wants it, they can come get it. I'm not going to force my videos, my views, my opinions on anybody. And even though that's my stance, people will still come find my stuff, engage with my stuff, then turn around and be resentful toward me. And I'm like, look, I did everything to like hide it from you and you still found it and then so anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I told y'all I was going to do that. But I'm just describing, like, again, even me, like this idea of who hurt you, me, we can hurt ourselves. And like, I'm just to the point now where I'm like trying to pull myself out of that mentality, trying not to allow the resentment or somebody feeling some type of way to get to me, because I still believe very much in what I'm doing. So, okay, that was a lot. Let's see what you guys are saying. And of course, I want to say hi to some of you all. So wins and lessons. I remember my wife's friend was because I tried to hold Black women accountable for not twerking on moving cars. She said, as a Black man, I can't hold Black women accountable. Wow. That's crazy. And you know what? It's like, real quick deviation, the twerking, because me and my husband was talking about this too the other day. You guys, twerking has gotten so bad. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Please comment if you've noticed that twerking is at an all-time, like, it's worse than it ever has been. And you're like, well, how can it get worse? So, two quick examples. One, recently I was in Miami, minding my business on the beach, trying to look off to the water, just chill. I got in the water, would come get back out, and just doing my thing. A group of black girls comes right in my face, like not in my but literally right in front of me, turned on their radio, and guess what they did? And all I'm trying to do is have a nice evening on the beach and chill. And it was just, and then and I promise you, I'm not making this up because I actually have a video where I literally talked about this 2 years ago. It happened again. And this is a whole nother group of black women. They took their phones out, they were twerking and in their phone, and I guess they were live streaming it. And like people literally started to move. Like you saw other groups of people get up off the beach and move. And I'm like, this is just sad. Like, why are we doing this? And then it happened again when I was in DC at a party, and it was just, and one thing I noticed is that when they twerk, they don't really want men to be a part of it. It's like, it's not even like they're doing it so that men can come over there. It's like they're just enjoying themselves. But I'm sorry, it's just, I think we had, what did I have? Back in my day, we had like the butterfly or whatever that dance was, a Tootsie Roll. Like it was a little bit better back then. But now it has gotten out of control. It is too much. And I'm so like, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm like, that is the opposite of what I want her to be doing. Okay. Sorry. I had to say that. Is it Saksha? Is crazy, but I've seen this with my and I'm sorry, I'm kind of going backward with some of the comments, but with my coach who has similar content to yours, but behind a paywall, she had to restrict her content because of the attacks and betrayal. Wow. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, and then I just feel like the stuff I talk about is like so regular. Like I just don't understand why the resentment though, Taylor, this is so true. I like accountability now. I'm taking accountability for everything I do, good or bad. People say I need to stop beating myself up, but I still need to be held accountable. 100%. Hi, Detro. Good to see you. Yes, they love drama and trauma. Gino, just a girl talk came off of TikTok because they couldn't stand the content, so she focused on YouTube. And I do like her videos. I think, Gino, you put me on to her. She makes some really good stuff. Thank you, Dr. Thunder. Please keep expressing. I will. It's just, yeah. I mean, sometimes I wish there was a way I could I guess I could, like if I got on Patreon or something. I don't know, but I don't know. I just need to work on, standing more firm. Like these are my beliefs. This is my channel. Like I just feel like if people don't like it, again, please, you don't have to. Because one thing I love about YouTube, unlike other platforms, is you actually have to click for the most part. You have to click. So it's like, if you're taking that action and you're doing that, don't get mad about what's behind that click. Some of the other platforms, things might just pop up on you, when you weren't expecting it, but YouTube, for the most part, doesn't do that. Okay. Hi. Oh, hey, good to see you. I don't know how to say, is it no ego? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but thank you so much for being here. I know you do comment on my videos, and I appreciate that. Oh, you said, what's the topic? The topic is, sorry, I know you probably can't tell because I'm all over the place. It's who hurt you? We're talking about accountability with Black women. Okay, so let me kind of get back on track a little bit here. Okay, so one of the things I did want to share, and this is kind of related, but I know this is with regard to accountability. Like a lot of women will use like empowerment events to, I guess, hold them accountable. Like, I guess that's supposed to be a whole thing. Like you go, you have a seminar or something. All Black women, they wear white, they show up, they go to these things. And I guess that's supposed to be like a way that they're, I guess, holding themselves accountable. And I just want to say that I don't like that. If you've ever invited me to an empowerment event, yeah, I probably lied and said something, but I didn't show up, and I won't, because it's not, it doesn't help. And I realize it doesn't help me. Okay. It may help, I'm sure it does help some women. It doesn't help me. And I think the reason why it doesn't help me is because typically with those types of events, women are telling each other what they want to hear, which don't get me wrong, as a woman, I like hearing, "Oh, I love your hair," or you, "Oh, you're so amazing," or of course. I mean, who doesn't want to hear nice things? But that doesn't empower me. What empowers me is having life experiences that teach me things, which I won't be getting into the life experiences, but I will be getting into like what I'm learning. But uh what empowers me is, like, again, like I said, my husband or people who challenge me to think differently. That empowers me. It doesn't empower me to go to an event and hear a whole bunch of women. I mean, yeah, maybe it might validate me to go to an event and hear women talk about their trials and their successes. But my thing is about actions. Like, what are you going to do differently? How are you going to show up differently? Again, going back to that quote, and let me read it again because to me it was just so incredibly powerful. It says the universe, but you can insert God. But the actual quote says, the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. So again, who are you being? What are you doing? What actions are you taking? Not just like, what are you talking about? What did you wear? Not what books did you read? Okay, reading books are good, but what action? Like, after you read the book, then what are you doing beyond that? And so, again, one of the things I've learned in the last several months is, like, the biggest person hurting me is me. And that was a huge, because I'll be honest, there's a part of me that, I like to blame other people. I mean, like blaming my husband, blaming my job. I mean, it feels good to blame somebody else because then you don't have to do the internal work. You don't have to look at yourself. You can just, well, it's because I had to work so much, and it's because he did that. And then it hit me hard a couple months ago. It was like, okay, so earlier this year, you guys, I shared here that I did get into therapy. That happened. I also got a business coach. Earlier this year, one of the things I realized, so I talked about the loneliness of just like doing YouTube and just, even being married. And I'm going to probably talk about this in the cover series. Even being married and when I say this, I don't mean, I'm about to talk about loneliness. I don't mean loneliness as far as within my marriage. I mean, I don't know a ton of married couples, and so nobody talks about how when you get married, how your circle changes, how people act differently towards you. Maybe I'm different. Okay, I don't want to put it on other people. I could be also different, but there's a kind of a sense of like things are just so different, but like nobody is highlighting the difference. And that also produces a level of like, I don't know if loneliness is the right word, but maybe isolation. So I was feeling all of that earlier this year. It just hit me so hard. And then I realized that I was the problem because there's a layer of support that I needed that I wasn't seeking out. Like, for example, okay, let me find other married couples to hang out with, or let me find other married women to connect with, or the married women that I do know. Maybe I need to be connecting with them. I wasn't doing that. I was just kind of functioning like I was before, and then it just all came crashing down. And so, like, again, this idea of wanting to blame other people, but I had to look internally and realize, like, no, I'm the problem here because I didn't set things up. Like, I have this new life, but like I didn't set up anything to like help support the new life. And that was a huge revelation because I'm like, whoa, I could see how things can get torn down very quickly. Like, if you don't set up the support you need, and this is with everything, this is with work, this is with your relationship, your marriage, no matter what it is, if you don't set up the support you need, things can come crashing down very quickly. And so, again, I can't blame anyone else because I didn't set up the support I needed. Like, that's nobody else's fault. Like, I have to take full accountability. And so this is what I'm talking about, that I believe. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I don't know what happened, but as usual, let me know if it looks like there's only 13 people here now, but if you can hear me, let me know. And if you can see me, let me know. I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to keep talking until I hear something from you guys. Okay, well, you guys there? Oh, man. All right, well, I'm going to read some of these comments, and hopefully you guys communicate with me so I know if I'm okay or not. Okay. Sorry about that. These are the things that happen. These are things that never happen, but of course will happen when I go live, because it's just okay. Good. Danny is saying I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, and I don't know the last thing you heard me say. I was just going on and on. Okay. I'm reading some of the comments. Black women fatigue. Yes. The butter. Oh yeah, the butterfly, the Tootsie Roll. Gino says they want to argue. Sacha, I think your delivery is tame, and sadly, some people lack comprehension skills nowadays anyway, so can't take it personal. It's a good point. Oh, no ego. Okay, yep, I got it. Danny says Black women don't hold us accountable, but then say protect Black women, and not realizing that holding you accountable is a form of protection. Absolutely. You got that right. Okay. So hopefully I am you guys are hearing me. And I don't know. I honestly don't know the last thing you heard me say. So am I repeating? I don't even know what I was talking about. Let me check. Oh, I think I was talking about the book. I think that's what I was talking about. But okay. Excuse me. So one of the things I asked myself with regard to holding myself accountable is, am I a victim or a willing participant? And this is with any and everything. So whether it is with, in my marriage, with, with, like I said, with work, whatever it is, am I a victim to my circumstance, or am I a willing participant? Because earlier this year, I realized that I was framing myself as a victim. Like, everything, these people doing this to me, I feel some type of way about that, and and just how I was feeling, I was a victim. I thought I was a victim, but then I actually realized that no, you're actually a willing participant in your pain and in your suffering. I was a participant in my own pain and suffering. And that's one of the things that I think that you should ask yourself, when, and again, as a woman, if you're struggling in your relationships, if you want a boyfriend, but, it's not working out, if you want to be married, it's not happening, if you can't even go, you can't even get going one date or whatever it is, ask yourself, are you a victim in this? Or because I think a lot of times we want to paint ourselves as victims. And see, this is the thing. And I've, and I have heard that some people feel some type of way about people I talk about, like Vivica Fox and Tracy Ellis Ross and Tia Mowry, all these people. It's not just me talking about these people, but I have heard from women that, they may not like what I have to say. People always say, well, you don't know them. And, but like, one of the things I pay attention to, because I'm one of those people that I don't just pop out and just start talking about people. I actually watch people and I pay attention to, again, what they show, And one of the things I noticed, and I'll just pick on Tracy Ellis Ross, I have never, ever heard her, again, she has never said publicly about what she talks about being single, and she talks about how hard it is, and she talks about all these things, but I've never once heard her talk about, well, how has she contributed to said problem? Like, that's what I'm always interested in knowing, is how, not what somebody is doing to you or how they messed the relationship up or why everything crumbled because of them, but what was your involvement in said problem? Because we all are involved in our own stuff. I mean, we all are a part of whatever's going on with us. We have something to do with it. We just can't put it on other people. So again, a lot of times the women who I talk about on my channel, whether it be Vivica Fox or whoever it is, there's a reason why I'm talking about this. See, I don't usually bother people. There's not a lot of examples, but I'm sure maybe I could think, help me out here. Can you think of any examples of, oh, hi. Look, I thought that I was seeing my name. Is it, it's Nena. Is it Nena? Nena. It's Nigerian. And Ngozi. You say, hi, thank you for being here. And you're saying you can hold someone accountable without being disrespectful. I think that's what some people take issue with. True. 100%. Absolutely. And I wouldn't say necessarily that, okay, I got it right. Thank you. My goal is to never be disrespectful. But I was going to say, if you guys have any examples of Black women who actually do take accountability in the media, please do drop it in the chat. I'm sure there's somebody. I don't know why I can't think of anybody right now, but one of the things I pay attention to is women who, again, complain about being single or complain about some result that they want that they're not getting, but they never talk about how they contributed to their own problem. And see, that's a red flag to me. That's always a red flag when you hear someone complaining, but then they never talk about how, like, what they did, and it's almost like when you're dating somebody and they're talking about their ex and they're going on and on about, oh, and they did this to me and all this stuff, and that's why our relationship ended, and they never say what they did. Because it's like, well, you were part of the relationship, so clearly you must have done something. Like, so that's actually the things that I'm paying attention to. And I think women who have resentment toward me or toward my channel assume that I'm just picking on people. I'm just picking on these women. Oh, niggas just, no, I'm actually paying attention to their commentary over a period of time. Over a period of time, paying attention to their commentary. And it's because I never hear them take accountability. I don't think Tia Mowry, and maybe, again, not that I've heard every interview she's ever done, but from what I know, I don't think she's ever talked about, I mean, she said she graduated, but I don't think she ever really said, like, and I don't even mean, when I'm saying this, I don't even mean that people need to get specific. Even I don't get specific on what on the issue at hand. But I'm saying, being clear that we both, even when people say things like, we both could have done something better here. Even just that alone is acknowledging that, okay, they recognize that they played a part. But a lot of times people will frame things like it's just the other person. And I'm like, I just never believe that it's just the other person. So, yeah. So again, when it comes to who I talk about, why I talk about them, a lot of times I'm actually looking at the lack of accountability over a period of time. And the fact that I've never heard said person, talk about themselves. And that's why I think it's so important. And it's actually so rare to hear a Black woman, talk about herself and what she did, because the narrative is, well, people are always picking on us. Black women feel like people pick, and with certain things, perhaps people do pick on Black women. I don't want to make it seem like I'm not really a part of a lot of those spaces anymore, but, like, I don't know, it could be, of course there's colorism, the 4C hair community. I'm definitely got my 4C hair going. I mean, there are communities that feel like people pick on us. They pick on us. They tear us apart. Definitely size as it relates to weight. That's another area where Black women, I guess, get picked on and so forth. Being a single mom, so there's some overlapping identities that even I have, right? And that but again, how are we separating who's picking on us from who's trying to hold us accountable? And that's where it gets tricky, because sometimes it's not as simple as somebody is talking badly about us, but wanting to hold us accountable and wanting to create space where they're prioritizing an area that seems to be neglected. So an area that is neglected that they feel like we should be focusing on more, like our weight, like single motherhood, like a whole bunch of other things. And Black women often will categorize that as, oh, well, they're just picking on me. Kevin Samuels would always talk about like Black women, and honestly, I would listen and I could have took great offense to some of that stuff, because I definitely, I don't know who was it. I think it was you, Gino, who was like, oh, if Kevin Samuels was alive, you should have had a conversation with him. I'm like, oh no, I would never have had a conversation with him, because I already know where that would have gone. And yeah, he would have made fun of me. But low key, I actually loved hearing those conversations, because it was like so rare. I mean, even though I didn't like when the conversations turned mean and nasty, I don't believe in making fun of people, because of their weight or whatever, but it was good to highlight that plays a role. How you look does play a role with regard to who you date and who's interested in you, and so on and so forth. And so I could get in my feelings, but why? Because, you need people to there has to be somebody who's going to challenge your way of thinking. I mean, if you want to grow. So, yeah, I'm just throwing some examples out there, but okay. So I got your name right. And then now I'm messing up again. It's Nena, and Gozi. She said, I enjoy your content. Accountability is big. No one is perfect, but being accountable takes a lot of vulnerability. People are afraid of being vulnerable. 100%. Danny, it's easy to look out that window, but people hate looking in the mirror. Facts. And I am going to completely mess this name up. Help me out. Is it Kazoshi? Help me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Kazoshi, something like that. Everybody is definitely not a hater. He only started up when they state demands that was far above their rank, considering what they were. Sure, absolutely, no, totally, I hear what you're saying. So okay, yes, I'm back on broken traditions. Yeah, I had a little issue, and of course those issues never happen when I'm on Zoom just for my job. Like everything's fine, and of course as soon as I go live, it's like everything I had, like I said, I had a whole 45-minute ordeal right before I went live. But so yeah, are you a victim or are you a willing participant in your own pain, suffering, and trauma? These are things that we should really be asking ourselves, and these are things that we need to be paying attention to. What else? I'm looking through my notes. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything you've been wanting to ask me? Feel now would be a good time. I don't know when I'm gonna go live again. This is definitely not my not my I don't know, my talent. I don't think it is, but I definitely love being able to be here to connect with you all. Someone did comment on like my channel. I mean, actually lately I've been getting some comments on like, I guess, me growing as a person, or maybe my, kind of people have been kind of noticing. I think what's happening is the work that I've been doing on myself, people are noticing that. And I appreciated that. That definitely is going to show through in my content. I just think I've been doing this for 3 years. So I'm getting, maybe to some extent more comfortable, maybe, but also what I learn, things that I'm learning in my life, I like to weave into my content. And so I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who have like noticed that I am growing, and I try to express that and express what I'm learning in my videos. So yeah, like I said, I saw some comments like that, and I was like, oh, that's so cool that people can actually tell. uh, so I, yeah, I think part of this too is like using my voice, learning how to find my voice and use my voice and be unapologetic. I see other women on this platform and I always admire, women who are very unapologetic. And I want to grow and be more like that. I mean, I think I am to an extent, but like I said, a lot of times it, it's a little discouraging. Like I said, out in the wild, how I think people feel about it. And again, I don't know. Some of this is speculation. Like no one ever comes up to me and was like, your videos, da, da, da. No one has ever like yelled in my face, but it's just the little jabs and things. I sometimes let that stuff get to me, and I'm just learning and wanting to use my voice and to continue to find my voice and to use my voice unapologetically. And so that is something that you'll be seeing hopefully more of. Sorry, I wrote down a whole bunch of random things, and I'm looking at it like, man, this is so random. What was I even talking about? I don't know. I guess I have sorry, I just need to take a minute to read my own notes. Oh, well, I did write this one down. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I put this note about, I was thinking about how social media is, I don't know, it's kind of like, I say like it's not natural. Like this idea of telling people what's in your head and what you think. Sometimes I just feel like, man, I don't want to say it's unnatural, but it kind of feels like it sometimes, because prior to social media, you didn't know what people really thought. You weren't able to go online and just see random pictures of people's family and that they went on vacation and all this type of stuff. And now having access to it, it's like a blessing and a curse, because I'm like, dang, like maybe things would be smoother in certain ways if people just didn't know what I thought, just leave that mystery there. And so it's just like the irony of like putting my thoughts out there. How, again, the blessing is that you're able to connect with so many people like you all on this live stream, but then the curse being people actually knowing what you think. And I'm like, oh, so anyway, that was just something I was thinking about. Like, wow, it's so weird how the world has transformed to how we kind of all know more about each other than maybe we really should know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like, what are your thoughts about social media, and like, is it good or bad? Does it help or does it hurt? Because I know some people who had to like literally close their accounts down because it was just, they felt like they were being bombarded with being bombarded with people's quote perfect lives, and so yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that. Danny says, what made you break away from how most Black women think? Now, that's a great question. That's a really great question. Oh, man. Wow. I'll be honest, Danny. I feel like, and I don't want to sound arrogant or anything like that, but I'll be honest. I don't know that I ever really thought the way most Black women think. Like if I look back, so I spent a lot of time growing up by myself in my room. I'm an introvert. I mean, I had friends and stuff, but I love being by myself. Even up today, my husband, I love being by myself. I love hanging out with him too, but I'm definitely, he's an introvert too. So we're both introverts. So that's good. Marry somebody who's like you. But I spent a lot of time reading, writing poetry, listening to music. I was really into like East Coast rap. And so I always, and I was actually thinking about this because this is funny how like you never know who your supporters are going to be. The fact that a lot of like, I think 70% at one point, it might be down to 65% of my viewers are actually men. I'm assuming that, that's probably Black men. I think that's interesting because most of my life I actually did not hang around men. Like I had very little interaction with Black men most of my life. It wasn't really until my very first relationship when I was like, practically like 18 years old that I started interacting with a Black man. But, and then of course in college, here and there. But again, most of my life, I was never really close with Black women. My dad passed away when I was younger. My brother passed away. My younger brother actually passed away. So it is kind of, I thought it was strange that I had so many men supporters. But then I thought about it one day and I was like, you know what? I never hated men. Like when people talk about, and I think that's what I think a lot of Black women expect as a default for you to hate men. Like they just assume that every woman, even if you don't know each other, you can be out at a bar or whatever, and like you can just go up to any woman and just start talking trash about men, and like she's gonna agree and she's gonna like, yeah. And if I look back all those years, and even some of the Black men who actually did hurt me in relationships and stuff like that, never any hate for Black men. And so I would kind of contribute that to making me a little bit different. And it's not something new. That's always been there. Like I even had a friend who she used to tease me because she was like, you just love Black men so much. And she thought it was weird, and I just never had that hate, and like I said, I would get hurt in relationships and things wouldn't work out. And I'm like, well, I guess I gotta, start over. And even meeting my husband, like I remember that was some of the feedback he actually gave me. He was like, wow, the fact that you were hurt in relationships so much, but you still I forgot how he said it, but it was something kind of like, I'm not jaded, And so I think that it has something to do with that, to answer your question, like just being, and then here's the other thing too. And I think because I didn't have a lot of men in my life, I connected to men through music. So I was really into East Coast rap. That actually made me want to move to the East Coast. I think that's actually why I live in Maryland, is because, I was into, so I'll name some of my favorite rappers. And I had the opportunity to actually meet Talib Kweli. He was one of my favorites. Mos Def. This is when I was like in high school and stuff. I would listen to Common and, all those folks. And so it was through music that I actually started to connect to Black men. And it was like, and I started making these connections because I'm like, that's so funny how I didn't have any men in my life, like in real life, but like through movies. And then, like I said, this makes me sound so weird, but like one of my favorite movies that I watched at least 30 times was Menace to Society. I love Menace to Society. And through movies, through music, I would connect to men, and I started to kind of get a window into like how men think, and and I don't know. And so again, that spirit of like hating men and looking down on men and thinking, as a woman, I'm better. I just always desired to be in a relationship. I just really wanted to be married, but at least to have a boyfriend. So, and I was just always that girl that for the most part, I did take breaks, but I kind of was like in relationships, I liked being in a relationship, even though it wasn't always the healthiest, but I just felt more comfortable, being in a relationship with a Black man. And that just became me. That's just me. So I love actually, Danny, your question. I know that was a long-winded answer, but I love your question because it actually really speaks to the core. And I'm actually going to go back to that quote because I thought about this too. Even that quote, let me read it again. The quote says, oh, shoot. Oh, hold on. Okay. The quote says, the universe, or you can insert God, but the quote actually says, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. So I was like, that's deep, because if you even think about my channel, it's not about who I want, because when I started this channel, I was like, oh, I'm going to have all these Black women supporting me and da-da-da-da. But it gave me who I am, because I actually am that girl. Like, this is not a grift or a fake. You know, I'm just pretending. So I no, like, I genuinely love Black men, like, for real, for real. And like I said, I had a friend who would tease me because she would just be like, "Girl," and it's not even like a boy crazy type of thing. That's not what I'm saying, because like I said, I was always like just want to have, you know, I'm not like, I never was like a player trying to be with hope. No, I'm but it was about almost like a respect thing or like a admiration thing. And like I said, I connected through men through music. You know, who else? Trying to name some other rappers and things and people. But anyway, hopefully that made sense. I know that was a long answer, but yeah, I think this is just who I am. And so when I think about the fact that 65 to 70% of my viewers are men, it actually does make sense. But I was like, I had to kind of really figure that out. Okay. Broken traditions. With social media, I have a public life, private life, and personal life. I have to share things accordingly. Yes, I love that. That's good. That's good, good. And I think that yeah, and I think a lot of people with social media, they kind of look at it like, I don't know, I don't think they know how to separate the two. Because I agree with you. I do think there's what you share publicly versus what you keep to yourself. I learned a lot from my husband. My husband is very private. He's way more private than me. I'm like, man, I can't be that private. That's too damn private. But it's interesting to see how he moves because, you know, it's like, you know, and it shows me how, yeah, you do have to put those boundaries up. But I think a lot of people, when they see like images of like, oh, we made it, you know, 10 years married or whatever it is, people almost are, I don't want to say jealous, but they look at that like, or, you know, again, you're just watching people's highlights. You just look at people's highlights. And so it's important to understand that that's what you're seeing is a highlight. That's not everything. You're not seeing the full picture, you know. That's why I actually, on the social media front, I love YouTube. Like, even before I was making videos on this platform, I use this platform just like you guys. I I actually exclusively watch YouTube. Yeah, yeah. I don't even really watch TV anymore like that. It's just really YouTube, you know, and I love that I can curate my feed. I can be in control for the most part of who, you know, what content I consume. That's how Lauren, I saw your video and I'm like, oh, you know, as soon as I saw your guest, I connected to her, you know, right away. And yeah, I'm just like you guys. So I don't really like the whole like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have a Facebook, I have, you know, Instagram and, you know, stuff like that, but I'm kind of becoming less interested in that way of engaging because I understand that really all you're seeing is people's best moments, you know, and YouTube to me feels more real because you can actually have discussions and conversations about, you know, trending topics. It's not just you seeing me post my best moment. And, you know, you have the opportunity to give context and say, well, you know, this is not my best moment. You know, you can kind of go into more detail. So I really love YouTube. And then it says, how do most Black women think? Oh, okay. There you go. I like that. That was a good question. And I don't know if that was directed at me, but and I'm not saying we're a monolith. I'm not. But hopefully I and maybe answered that when I was saying how the default is man bashing, man hating. And I'm not saying all Black women think like that, but I think more often than not, that's kind of going to be the default, you know. And if you the minority is going to be the ones who are not interested in engaging in that, or just that excuse me, that doesn't do anything for me, you know. Or talking about patriarchy negatively, I get it, you know, and I've talked about this on my channel. I understand that patriarchy has been harmful, you know. I'm half Nigerian, you know. There's a lot that I know, a lot that I've, you know, seen and studied about all that, but we have to acknowledge the how we benefit from it, how we don't want to do certain things as women, you know. So I think, again, how most Black women think is very much the perhaps Cynthia G would be a good example of kind of like, you know, I still remember having all of her followers like just completely rip me apart because of a video that I did where they were like, oh, and I guess because I had some of her supporters who were supporting me until they realized that I didn't think like her, and then they got upset. And so again, but I think Cynthia G, yeah, that would probably be just like the standard typical, thing that you would I would be more considered a pick me or a more considered like yeah, I'm like the black woman who people just shake their head at like, oh, she's so lost. Now, I don't think I'm lost, but I understand that black women think that I'm lost, right? And I understand why they think that because of how they were socialized to believe. Yeah, they were just socialized to look at life through a certain way. And to be clear, to some extent, I was socialized like that too. And that's not anything bad, but it was just socialized to just be very 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 cautious when it comes to men, and so I get that, but I think it takes a level of introspection to kind of really examine that because see a lot of again going back we're talking about the typical black woman who let's talk about dating white men. What's the common thing if girl, yeah, ooh, and just like celebrating being with a white man and like and again even though a lot of black women won't show you that in their actions but if that comes up in conversation everybody will act like they would be so excited to date Brad, and I've always just been like no, I'm not going to be excited. I don't feel bad about that. I wouldn't be excited about that. So yeah, I think that is another just giving you examples of how I've kind of always thought a little different. All right. So Gino. Oh yeah, glad she finally found my channel. Been watching me for years. Oh, that's so cool. Laron says, Laron, his name, I'm calling him by his government name, but it's Broken Traditions. I would never would have thought Naka loved backpack. What is up? Oh, that is so funny. Okay. So my all-time favorite rapper is actually Nas. So I don't think Nas is considered a backpack rapper. I love Nas. I am a huge Nas fan. Tupac is another one, even though I know he was, everybody was saying whatever, he's not a real thug, but I still love his music. So yeah, those are some other examples. Gino, been here for years too. Yes, Gino, I know you are like my day one for real. Like I remember when my first video went viral. I still remember you from when my first video went viral. That was literally about 2 years ago. And I remember seeing you in the comments then. And I so appreciate that you've been here with me all this time. So thank you. Hi, Ashley. You said, I don't think anyone other than oneself can really hold themselves accountable. Love that. You says you can lead people to hold themselves accountable. Oh, interesting. You can lead people to hold themselves accountable. Okay. I have to think about that. I think that could be true. I don't know. Can you really lead people? I think you can lead people who are open to being led in that area. I don't think you can lead everybody to hold themselves accountable, but yeah, there might be some people who you can kind of coach. People who are coachable, for sure. Okay, I know I've been on this thing for a minute. Other questions? Let me look at my crazy notes because yeah, in my head, sometimes I have things in my head, and then when I start talking, I'm like, oh, that I don't even know if that makes sense. Yeah, I think the other note I have here is, you know what people care about. Well, I just wrote this note. You know what people care about by watching what they stick to, what they do, what they consistently do. So again, this goes back to, are you a victim or are you a willing participant? This goes back to who hurt you and all those questions that like we ask Black women. I just want to employ all of us to just pay attention to people's actions. Not always what people are saying, but like what are people consistently doing? That I think that is just so important. And you can tell a lot about a person by looking at what they consistently do, uh, like what they refuse to give up on. And that's even me. Like I think about And again, like I talked about earlier, I don't really promote my YouTube channel out in the wild. I just pretend like I don't even have a channel because, like I said, I just feel like I from experience, I believe that the average, we've been talking about the average Black woman is not going to take well to my content. And like I said, my husband likes to brag, like, oh, my wife's a content creator. I'm like, no, don't, because again, but then I'll have people say like, oh, you still making those little videos and whatever, and I'm like, you can tell a lot, like even the fact that I keep posting videos. Like I've been on this platform for 3 years consistently every week. The only time I took 3 weeks off was when I got married. Other than that, every week consistently posting videos. That alone lets you know how I feel about all these topics. Like, just look at that, period. You cannot say, so for anybody who wants to make a claim, oh, she don't like Black women, somebody was like, oh, you just exploiting Black women, or, people who, whatever people want to say, at the end of the day, look at the consistent behavior. Year after year, week after week, I'm showing up, I'm pretty much talking about some of the same topics. So you can't say that I'm a fake and a fraud, because how can somebody do that consistently for 3 years? Eventually, if I was fake, like, you would have found out. If I secretly was, I don't know, loving on loving on a white man, or, whatever it was, if I was preaching one thing but living a different way, it was going to be exposed. So all I'm saying is, for people who, if you want to know something about a person, like how a person really is, pay attention to what they consistently do. What are they consistently? Like, it always surprises me when people are like, huh, what, so Nika, like, what, like, again, these are people who know me, not, obviously if you don't know me, you wouldn't know. But people who know me, I don't know what to get you. I don't know what to buy you, or I don't know what you. How do you not know what I like? Go to my YouTube. You can see the stuff that I keep talking about. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just some things are just so obvious. Like, I recently put on my banner at the top of my YouTube channel, because I was like, let me just be clear so people can know what's going on over here. Love and relationships. These are the things I talk about. Mostly love and relationships, beauty and body standards, YouTube coaching, and I might start, lately I've been talking more about like healing and things like that. But like, you can't say you don't know me, or like, you don't, of course nobody really like knows me, but I'm saying, like, don't act like you don't know what I'm about. That's so weird to me. And it really bothers me when people, this really gets under my skin, when people will take one thing I said. Mind you, I have at this point almost 400 videos on my channel. And the audacity that somebody will take one thing I said a year ago, or maybe two points that I made a year ago, and then try to, well, yeah, I can't mess with y'all, no, because the stuff you be. Ma'am, I have 400 videos, and granted, lots of different points made throughout all of them, but you are choosing to focus on the one thing I said. One thing I said. I talk about things in, like I said, I have a niche, but you guys see my videos. I'm always making all types of points. So it's so frustrating. And like, again, I am very clear on what I care about, who I care about. Right? Have you ever seen me make a video about anybody that's not a Black person? No, you haven't. But I have like one video about, but for the most part, you've seen me talk consistently about Black people, consistently about Black women for the most part. So there are things that I have consistently done that define what I care about and what I am about. So it just blows me when people act like they don't know. Or when they reduce me to something like, oh, you're just a pick-me, or oh, you just make red pill. What? Because I have literally like 30 videos about BBLs, and I don't think that has anything to do with the red pill community. So again, I just, sorry, I know I got a little passionate there, but it's like, that is a big deal to me. In my real life, I pay attention to behaviors. What is somebody consistently doing? What are they sticking with? What are they not giving up on? And that to me is so defining over, like, I don't know, what they're wearing or, something more superficial. No, because, and you guys wouldn't know this, but like, I'm really, oh, hey, sorry. I was so, hey, men's life coaching. So that is, Curtis. Thank you so much for being here, Curtis. And I'm going to get to the comments in a second. But one of the things about me you guys wouldn't know is that I love love. And you might kind of know this because of what I was sharing about, like, kind of like being in relationships throughout my life and like not being a man-hating woman. But prior to even being on YouTube, love was one of the topics that I loved reading about. I was obsessed with just learning about love. So it's so funny because I never thought that my channel would be about love, or like I would be talking about relationships. But it makes sense going back to, why a lot of my viewers are men. Same thing. It makes sense because, again, going to my point, paying attention to what somebody consistently sticks with, what they don't give up on. In my personal life, people have said, like, wow, Nathan, you just refuse to give up. you just keep trying. Like, I've had all these, these bad experiences in relationships. And again, that's not putting it on them. I was also part of the bad experience, but I just didn't give up. Got married at, 41 years old. Didn't give up. But again, to me, those are the things that are more defining, and I think that's why it hurts sometimes when I feel like people don't get me. And again, I don't expect everyone to get me, but this is when I'm talking about people who know me, when I feel like I'm so misunderstood, because it's like I have put so much out there. I have a book about being an invisible Black woman. I have another book about, with my mom, a children's book about mental health and, the schizophrenia that that dad had and my brother had. Like, I have put a lot out there, and you can't box me up and say, oh, well, you've only, because people say, oh, well, you only talk about BBLs. That's not true. I only talk about BBLs, but people will take the thing that triggers them and then try to use that to try to minimize me and what I do. And I'm like, you just can't box me up. And so I am committed to, like, keep showing up. I mean, it's not easy. I'll be honest with you. Having a YouTube channel, having a family, having responsibilities. I have a full-time job. Again, my daughter's about to go to high school, which is like, oh man, I'm scared about that. There's a lot going on, but you know what I'm passionate about. That's one thing I'm clear on. Like, please, nobody can ask me, unless you don't know about my YouTube channel. If you know about my YouTube channel, please don't act like you don't know what I'm passionate about, because I make it very clear. And for those of you who are not content creators, making videos can take a long time, especially when you're researching things and stuff like that. The editing, it can take a long time. So my whole thing is, you would only put yourself through that if you care. So this whole notion of people like, oh, well, you don't care about it. How do I not care? Ma'am, I've been doing this for 3 years, consistently talking about Black women for 3 years because I care that much. And for me, in addition to just caring about the Black community, I also think about, like, I mean, there's a side of me that's a little bit, what's that word? Morbid, I guess. I think about my channel also being a way to where my daughter, or people who love me or care about me can remember me. So I want to put out in the world the things that I care about, because it's like, no, I could die tomorrow. Like, I would love, like, my dad is gone. My brother, my younger brother, he also passed away. I would love if they had a YouTube channel and I can go and watch their videos, see their mannerisms, and actually see what they cared about, or like hear their voices around the topics that they cared about. So again, I feel like I don't have to preach this to you all. I'm sure you know this, but I'm saying it because all these creators, and I can't say all these, because we of course know there are grifters, there are people who are just, I guess, quote, doing it for the money. But for the most part, because unless you have like some crazy brand deal, most people are probably not making that much. I mean, or unless you just have like a really big channel like Anton Daniels or something like that. But if you're a small channel like me, you're not necessarily making that much money off of the video. Now you could be making money off other things like coaching, but like most people are not doing this for the money. Most people are doing it because they have a passion and they love it and they want to get their voice and their message out there, and they want to engage in dialogue around these topics, and they want to find other people who care, and that's why I do it. And so again, like, it hurts sometimes when it's like there are people who know me, but they just don't get this side of me. It can just be very frustrating. So sorry for that tangent. Let me read these comments. And I am drinking, this is some juice, kiwi honeydew and cucumber, and it's so good. So let's see, where did I leave off here? Okay, Gino, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You got that right. Ashley says, hey, agreed. One got to be coachable for sure. Absolutely. Your hater, Gino says, your haters see you like they saw Kevin saying, oh, man. Well, Kevin Samuels was making the big bucks. So, yeah, but I hear you, Gino. Gino says, off topic, love your hair. So thank you. I just got this done actually yesterday. So I'm going to be going on my honeymoon soon. So it's my honeymoon here. Ashley says, accept people for who they are, then gracefully let them go for that same reason. Ooh, I like the gracefully. That's good. And I already said a shout out to Men's Life Coaching. Go ahead and actually check out Men's Life Coaching. So for those of you who do watch, I collaborated with Men's Life Coaching, aka Curtis. We collaborated. We actually have a few videos together, and I'm still going to be putting out one more. But please do check out his content. He has amazing content around healing for men, and it's just chef kiss to that, because y'all black men, for those of you black men on here, y'all know y'all don't be trying to talk about no healing. And so when I do see black men talking about healing, it definitely stands out. Thank you, Kev. I appreciate that. Appreciate the compliment and welcome. Gino says, you only talk about BBL's translation. They want you never talk about it again. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna keep talking about it because I actually do have some stuff to say about it. I'm gonna be and that's another, I guess, update. So I'm doing the covered series. I have a couple more episodes, but somewhere within there, I actually will, because in terms of my subscribers, there are people who subscribe specifically because of the BBL videos and the beauty and body standard stuff. So I will be weaving that in there. Another thing I'm also doing is a curated legacy podcast for those who want YouTube coaching. So if you see me post something other than the covered series, is because I'm literally running like 3 series at the same time. So yeah, just wanted to say that. Gino says, folks used to tell me the same thing. All you talk about is black women. That's funny. Hi, Antics Semantics. I like that name. Your husband is a very lucky man. As an affluent black man, I don't mess with black women, but you're very appealing and attractive. Oh, thank you. You don't mess with black women? Hold on now. Why? Why don't you tell me more about that? Why don't you mess with black women? So are you saying you only date white women? I mean, I'm not, you can do what you want, but I'm just curious. So, you put something out there like that, then yeah, we have to have a conversation, because I just got done talking about how I love black men and I've never dated a white man. So, any other questions? I know I've been going for some time. This is actually fun. So there's kind of like this anxiety that I kind of feel like, anytime I say, which I haven't gone live that much, but the times that I have gone live, I'm always like, I can't go anywhere. Like, I'm too afraid to go somewhere. I'm like, what if I get stuck? What if I can't make? I just overthink the whole thing. But then when I actually get on here, I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. Excuse me. Okay. So any other questions? And then I'm going to check my list here to see. I like I said, in my head, I was going to say everything so succinctly, and I was like all over the place as usual. I think I have this note here, and again, this is kind of obvious, but you guys, we all have our own battles, and we all have things that we're going through and working through. And another thing about me that I think, I'm just naming all the things I think people don't like about me. I don't even know some of this stuff I don't have evidence. So that's the thing. I hate when I feel a way and I actually don't have evidence that that's true, but I just feel it. But another thing I feel is that the way I talk about relationships, I don't know. That's actually why I'm doing the covered series, is because it allows me to kind of get some things off my chest. My videos, a lot of my videos are actually really personal, but I don't glamorize relationships. I don't do that. And I think that's another thing that women want, and I think it's frustrating. That's why they don't really mess with me like that, because it's like this whole, and I love being married, and that's the thing. And I mean, I could do that. I could glamorize it, but it's just relationships are a lot of work. And anyway, what was my point? My point was everybody has things that they're battling, and this I am not exempt from this. I one of the things about my channel, excuse me, is about, what did I say? I love when people use the term hold space. It's one of my favorite terms. The way I see my channel, not only is it a digital museum or like a library, but it's also an opportunity to hold space for certain topics. So yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I mean, I like I said, the last 3 years, to be honest with you, I've been through a lot. Like, woohoo! Like, that's why I don't make my videos, are most of them are not about my personal life. If my videos were, I would go viral each and every time. Because I've been dealing with some stuff, but I had to get to the point where it's like, just because I'm dealing with things or going through things, it doesn't mean that I don't have the right to have a voice about the things that I feel confident about. And I think that is an area where I struggle. And I think many people struggle with this, because you assume that, well, I'm going through it, so how can I show up and talk about anything? Because, but it's like the way life would have it. Sometimes you're kind of always going through something, or you have different seasons of your life where, you have challenges. And I still am like pushing myself to be like, no, I still have a right to have a voice despite whatever it is I'm dealing with. And so I just wanted to share that is something that, I'm working through, and like still trying to encourage myself to have that voice and to still stand strong and firm despite my challenges. So hopefully that makes sense. But what else is on this list? Okay. I think I covered quite a bit. Man. Oh, I have one more point. Sorry, I know this is boring. Don't leave. I'm almost done. I'm just recognizing how many points I still have to make. All right, let me read some of your comments real quick. Excuse me. Doo, 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 doo. Oh, way down here. And antics semantics. I'm what many will consider a Tyrone. I don't have a problem dating all women. Okay, there's just too much data, live videos, and lived experiences. What does that mean? I'm what many would consider a Tyrone. I don't have. What does that mean? Thank you, Gino, for congratulating me on the honeymoon. Yeah, what does that mean that you're considered a Tyrone? Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. This is okay. I need to next time I need to write these more in order. But one thing I do want you all to do is to look at the so one of the things, again, this goes into who if you see a fly, is I've been trying to deal with this all evening. Going into the topic of who hurt you, um, I think about like who hurt you or who's hurting you. I think about becoming my best self. So that is my goal now. Is I want to be my best self, and that's in every way, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, my best self. I think about who can help me become my best self. Who are the people? So obviously, I'm the number one person. Well, God, because I am a woman of faith. I am a Christian. Also, me, right? This goes back to accountability. I need to do what I need to do to become my best self. But then beyond that, I think about my circle. And what I want to challenge all of us to do is to think about who is in our circle and who are the people who can help us become our best version. And the people around you, are they the people who are going to help you to be your best version? To meet, I always say I want to meet her. I want to meet the best version of me. I don't feel like I've met her. I mean, I think I'm getting closer. And I don't know if I'll ever meet her, because I think that, as you know, with life we're always improving. But I want to get as close as I can to meeting my best version, my best self. And I know and believe, as an example, I have some really good friends. I believe that they can help me meet her. I also believe my husband 100%. Ooh, sorry, it's the fly. My husband 100% can help me meet her. But I challenge you to ask yourself the same question. The people in your life, in your circle, are they people who can help you meet your best self? Because going back to the topic of who hurt you, why are you over there hurting? Why are you over there crying, complaining? I started off this stream talking about folks blaming Tyler Perry and all these other, all these other entities outside of themselves. And then the real question is, are you the person that you want to be? And in your life, the people around you, are they the people who can help you be the best version of you? And if the answer is no, if you look in your life and you look around and you realize that no, these people are not going to help me meet my best version, then you have some decisions to make. And something interesting happened after I got married. Well, actually, no, this happened right before I got married. Folks who I thought were going to be there for me weren't. Some folks, shockingly. Well, some of it wasn't shocking, but some of it was. And I had some decisions to make even after, because here's the thing. And this is what you need to pay attention to. Who's there when you're at your lowest? Right? So I'm paying attention to who's there when I'm at my lowest. I'm paying attention to who is there when I'm in my best phase. And then I have some questions to ask. That's interesting that this person, conveniently, when I was at my lowest point, they were there, no problem. Then now I'm up here and it's like, oh, they're MIA. Why is that? Right? And sometimes you don't get answers to those questions, but there's still questions you need to ask nonetheless. There's still decisions that you need to make nonetheless. So again, going back into the topic of who hurt you or who's hurting you, sometimes we hurt ourselves because we don't want to assess this part. We want to be, oh, well, we've been friends since 1995, so that's my road dog. We got it. No, I mean, let's reassess, because should that person be there? They say that we become, or we are, the 5 closest people to us. So if you look at the 5 closest people in your life, that's you. And the question is that who you want to be? And if not, then you have some decisions to make. So these are all things that I've been thinking about and I've been examining in my own life. And I just wanted to share that with you because, it is interesting. Okay, I have one more thing, maybe a couple more things to share. Yeah, a couple more things to share and then I'll be done. And I do appreciate you guys staying on here. Oh, this might be my longest live stream ever. Antics semantics. 6 feet, 100K, fairly decent shape, serial monogamous. Okay, we do exist. Okay, that's what's up. And then Gino is saying, Naka, if more sisters were like you, we would have the issue. We would have the issue with brothers not liking sisters today. A lot of sisters turn black men off. Ugh. Well, hey, I can't say you're lying, Gino. I can't say you're lying. I gave my stories of some of the black women who've been in my vicinity lately and the twerking antics that I've had that I've and I can't even. I mean, that wasn't my fault because I was just there trying to enjoy myself, and yeah, they just did that, and I'm like, this is crazy in terms of what's out here in the pool. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a man, but I would imagine if a girl has her butt in the air and she's live streaming it, and she's a grown woman, I don't know. To me, I probably wouldn't take her serious. That's just me. I'm not a man though, so I don't know. All right, so last couple things that I want to share is, and then again, some of this stuff is going to seem random, but in marriage, I'm trying to connect this to the point. So I hear men sometimes say things like, well, some men who want to be married, they're like, oh, it's such a relief being married because you don't have to keep searching. It's like you finally, have your person and that part of your brain. You're not having to keep being out here trying to, find a wife and things like that. And I want to say that I think that women are like that too, in the sense of like, once you find your person, whether you're married or you're in a long-term relationship, there is a sense of like comfort because it's like, whew, okay, finally, like I don't have to be out here, like keep putting myself out there, keep feeling, I always like talk about this feeling of being exposed and like just uncovered and just, I hate it. I hate that feeling. But there's a new feeling. And I just wanted to, for those of you who kind of been following me, even getting married, I talk about how marriage does not solve all of your problems. And again, most of us know this intuitively, but it's so interesting because it's like there's, what do they say? There's levels. Like when people talk about there's levels. Oh, thank you, Stefan. Oh, I think you're the one that said. I think I may have seen you on my post thing, and you say you were coming. So thank you for coming. You said at NACA when black women ask black men. When black women ask black men who hurt you, are they being sincere? And why don't black women want to be our sisters anymore, but still want us to be their brothers? Ooh, okay. I'm coming to you. So just give me a second, and thank you for that question. Yes, that was you. Okay, thank you, and thank you for the super chat. And then hi, Taisha, and I'll get to you 1 second. But I wanted to just also share that, like, I'm gonna compare it to when you get a job. Excuse me, and this is something that I think I've shared on my YouTube channel. I'm actually, so a lot of milestones. 3 years on YouTube, just made it 3 years on YouTube. I'll be making it to 10 years at my job coming up in September. And I have a multi-role, but one of the things I do is coaching in my job. And I always am interested in, like, so sometimes I sit on the hiring committee, and I always like to pay attention to the way we talk about candidates before they're hired. And there's language that we use like, oh, they're so amazing and they're so great and oh wow, and we're just so hyped. Well, I shouldn't say we, people get so hyped, and they talk about the person like they're, going to come in and make all these changes, and then the person actually gets hired. And it's always interesting to hear, like, when things get real, like when real light, like, yeah, on the interview, the person was like shining, like the sun and like this glamorous person because they were at they had to show us their best side. They had to wear a suit. They had to, put on whatever makeup and look polished and sound polished, and they had their resume, and they had all the things because they had to have all the things to secure the deal of the job. Then they get the job, and again, they haven't changed, right? They're still the same person, but now they wake up late. They got stuck in traffic. Okay, now they show, and even if it's virtual, even if you on Zoom all day, stuff still happens. You can be late to a Zoom meeting, or you didn't get enough sleep, or you got to take your kid here, go to the track meet, whatever it is, life stuff. And it's always interesting to then listen in to how people start to talk about this person. At first, it was like, oh, they're so amazing. But before you knew them, they were so amazing. And oh, I can't wait till they get hired. They're so great. Their resume, they're so smart. Soon as a person gets the job and they get started on said job, then the criticism starts to creep in. Well, I don't know. I mean, they did that wrong. They kind of messed up with that. And I still remember, because I had a situation some years ago where I was in a work bullying. I consider it to be being bullied in a work environment. And I'm not going to get into all that, but it did happen. And it was the same thing with me. It was, and the person literally said to me, you were just so great in your interview, but the question becomes, is it fair to compare the person in the interview who needed to be perfect to secure the job? Is it fair to compare that person to that person who's now on the job and trying to manage the job with all the challenges of life? Okay, I say all that to say that dynamic very much reminds me of what it's like being in a relationship and being married. Why? Because again, to the world, to the outside, everybody, you see the wedding, you see all the perfect things, and oh my gosh, and we kiss and we dance and we do all the things. But when life hits and now you're still in love, but you're managing love with all the other things. Your kids need this, your family needs that. My husband comes from a big family. There's always stuff going on and trying to keep up with everything. You got to work, you got to, and then next thing you know, you're still in love, but like you're managing love in the context of the challenges of life. And that's where it gets tricky. And so I'm losing my main point, whatever I was saying, but I guess I don't even know if I had a tagline for it, but these are some of the dynamics that come up. And so when you talk about, again, as I talked about earlier, being a victim versus being a willing participant. I think I know where I was going with it. It was figuring out, like I saw this year already, how if you don't put the right supports in place, if you don't do what you need to do to have a strong marriage, or whatever your goal is. My goal is not to ever get a divorce. If that is your goal, it's not like you can just it's just like the person who gets the job and they're trying to, oh, well, they celebrated me in the interview, so yeah, I can just show up and be mediocre. No. You cannot do that. You still have to put in a significant level of work. And I think that is the part that people forget. It doesn't matter how great your honeymoon phase was, or how great not even just the honeymoon, but the wedding was. It doesn't matter. Oh, well, on the first day. Okay, all that's good. But now we're managing the love we have with real life. And life is hard. And so now it's like, what support, whether it's therapy or whatever it is for you, what support can you put in place to help assist you? Because you really cannot do it alone. Like you really do need, and support could be your church. Support could be, the Bible, like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be necessarily another person, but it's just the idea that to maintain something, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, a marriage, whatever it is, it takes more than just, oh, I'm just going to show up and wing it. No. Just like you prepare for that interview and you did all that to win those folks over, there's going to take, a different skill set to maintain whatever it is. For anyone who has ever lost weight, and I remember some years ago, I lost 40 pounds. If you ever lose weight, it's the best feeling ever because everybody compliments you. I remember everywhere I went, people was like, girl, you look good. I got all the compliments. And guess what I did? Let me tell you what happens. Sometimes you get so excited that you get all the compliments, you forget that you actually have to keep the weight off. And so then you start going to happy hour, you start, going out to eat, doing all type. Next thing you know, the weight is coming back, right? So it's the same idea of like maintaining. And so I say that because I am in a phase now where, there's a lot, even this channel, even the YouTube channel, same concept. It was all good when I was 2 years ago, I was going viral and I have a video now that's almost at 1 million views. Amazing. But guess what? I got to keep showing up, no matter how many views, the way YouTube works, it don't matter that you went viral if you want to continue to grow, you can't rely on that viral video from 2 years ago. You have to keep showing up and posting. That is how YouTube works. That is how relationship works. That is how jobs work. It all works like that. And so again, to tie it all together with the topic, I said earlier, excuse me, likely the biggest person hurting you is you, because it's going to be up to you to do the work, not to rely on, again, the interview, the viral video, the wedding. No, it's up to you to put the work in on a day-to-day to sustain whatever it is that you want. It has to come with actions. And that is the hard part. That is the part, like, I already see, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I already see how things can get torn down so quickly. I see it. I can see how two people who love each other so much, if they're not careful, it can all fall apart. Believe me, it is not hard, because when the stresses of life creep in, it is not hard for things to get torn down. Just like I gave you that example of me losing weight. Yeah, well, in that case, I actually kept it off for a while. But there was some other times where I lost weight and I got all happy and started going to happy hour. And guess what happened? It gets torn down real quick. So that concept I like to apply in, excuse me, in a lot of different areas. And now my whole thing is, whatever I want, can I put the work in before I sign up for it? Before I even agree to do it, the question is, am I willing to put the work in to maintain it? And, sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. There are certain areas of my life where I've already decided, nope, I'm not interested in putting in the work. I'm not, and I have to be honest with myself with certain things like that. Maybe I will be ready but now I'm not ready. But then with this stuff over here, I'm putting in the work. So it's just being clear. And again, a lot of times people, when you see them crying and complaining about the outcomes that they don't have, or they say, I'm grieving, Tracy Ellis Ross, I'm grieving the life that I never had. Again, maybe she is grieving. My question to her would be, what work did she put in those areas where she's crying and saying that she didn't get what she wanted? She didn't get the baby. She didn't get the man. She never got the husband. My question to her would be, again, Tracy Ellis Ross, what level of work and effort did she put in? And this is not to say she didn't put in any effort. Those are always the questions that I have. Like, when I hear women complain again about what they don't have, I want to know, what did you do to get it? How hard did you work? Or did you just give up and now you're complaining? So, okay. Let me see what you guys know I like to talk. I cannot believe I've been talking I'm about to end this soon. I've been talking for so long. I do want people to actually catch the replay. So I'm like, I don't want to make it too long, because then they'll be like, oh, I'm not watching that long 2-hour live stream. So Stefan, no, I already read that. Regina. Okay, Tynesha. Hi, Empress. Oh, thank you. Hi, Empress. Very beautiful. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Men's life coaching facts. You definitely can't do it alone. You will be exposed. You will be exposed. And I'm telling you that I do not like being exposed. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Nope, I don't. Most people who know me, for those of you who got on late, I had a friend who used to literally uh, tease me about how much I love black men. But yeah, I've never been interested in. I never really liked being single, and it's not for the reason that you might think, because some people are like, oh, you just don't, you're not comfortable with. No, I love my own company. I'm an introvert. Like, I love, it's not about, it's to the point of like, I don't like being exposed. I don't. I like having some level, some layer, some separation between me and the world. And I can tell you story upon story upon story of me as a single mom. See, I speak from experience, because I was a single mom for almost 10 years before I met my now husband. And believe me, whew, yeah, when you don't have the right, I'm not, because I always had the right people in my corner as far as women. But I'm just going to be honest. When you don't have a man in your corner, like, you can have women in your corner, and I appreciate and love the women who are in my corner. But when you don't have a man, and the right man in your corner, things can go bad real quick. Especially when you're a woman like me, and you're nice and you're kind, and people think that they can take advantage of you. And so believe me, I don't like being exposed. Okay, well, I think I made all my points. Oh, and I'm sorry, no, I didn't. Okay, I'm coming back to those 2 questions real quick, and then I think I'll be done. Yeah, I think I made all my points. Let me come back to your questions. And then real quick, okay, Taisha, it's a two-way street. Some black men treat me like royalty, while other black men are visibly rude for no reason. And that is not righteousness. You said, and that is not righteousness. A woman will not follow that man because he is showing he's not led by this by the spirit. I think that's what you're saying. Oh yeah, definitely. I would say, yeah, I probably had that experience too, like being treated really well by some black men, and then yeah, by others, yeah, you can tell. And I agree. I mean, as I said, I'm a Christian, and I do believe that the man needs to be led by God. I'm not following nobody who's not following God. Point blank. Period. It's not happening. You're not following God. I am not following you. So, and then Stefan, hopefully I'm saying that right. You said, okay, I'm gonna read it again. When black women ask black men who hurt you, it seems more like black men ask that to black women, actually, but maybe it goes the other way. So when black women ask black men who hurt you, are they being sincere? No, I don't think so. I think if a black woman is asking a black man that, I wouldn't assume that I would assume she was maybe being sarcastic. And I also think when black men ask black women that, to me, there's a level of sarcasm. One of the reasons why I titled this live stream is that, because it's something I've heard, thrown around in the internet quite a bit. And like, I actually think it's a great question though. Even though I think when it's asked is usually not sincere, but it's like a really good question, because again, I was trying to get at the person who was hurting you oftentimes is you. Like, the person who was hurting me was me. Again, it doesn't mean that other folks aren't trying to hurt me. That's not what I'm saying. They might be trying to do that too. I can't speak for what they're doing. I'm speaking for what I can only speak for what I'm doing to myself. So, and the other part of your question is, and why don't black women want to be our sisters anymore, but still want us to be their brothers? I would like to hear more about that. If you wouldn't mind, Stephen or Stefan, saying more about the last part of your question. Oh, I pronounced your name right. Okay, that's great. And then Taisha, is it? Yeah, Taisha. Aggression has increased with some Black men, and it's shameful and dangerous concerning. Ooh, yeah, I would love to hear more, Taisha, about the aggression part. Like in what, like some examples of ways that you feel like aggression is increasing with Black men. So yeah, I don't want to ignore your question, Stefan, but I want to make sure I do it justice. If you can say a little bit more, and so if you do want to type that, I am going to start wrapping this up because I remember when I was a little girl, my dad, who's Nigerian, said, "Neka, you like to talk." And I literally have a video of me being like 4 years old, and he's like, "You like to talk." So nothing has changed since I was 4. I still am that girl that likes to talk. So I don't want to talk you guys' ear off. He said I may. Okay, yeah, sure, absolutely, Stefan. You can definitely email me to tell me more. If you want to get in touch with me, it's all on my YouTube, the links and all that stuff. You can actually send something directly to me via my website. It'll come to my email. But okay, well, thank you all. This was awesome, and it is actually really good because then I can see who is still here. One thing about YouTube is, well, I guess that's most social media, I guess, but no, it's not. Like when people like your videos on YouTube, you can't see who's liking it. You just see that you have likes. So it's just good for me to actually see who's still here. Like I said, I've been on YouTube for 3 years. I know people come and go. So it's just always great to see, like, man, who's still rocking with me? Like, who are these folks? So thank you, Stefan. You said what tribe? So my dad is well, he passed away, but he was Igbo. So I'm half Igbo. So Taisha, an example. Oh, you give me an example, like speeding by and not stopping for me, whereas every other culture in person will stop for me. You said purposely, letting the door slam and others won't do it, will hold it. Oh wow, okay. Ooh. Taisha, where do you live? I'm just kind of curious. What state do you live in? And you're saying me and mostly other passive aggressive acts done by strangers, some Black men, is weird. It's like an instant aggression or instant kindness. Okay, tell me where you live. I definitely have a video about my experience living in Minnesota with Black men. So, and then I've heard things about California. I mean, there's some part, and again, I'm not trying to blame, but there's a reason why I don't live in Minnesota anymore. Living out here in Maryland, I really love it. I met my husband out here, but yeah, I had some negative experiences with men, and Black men in particular in Minnesota, but it didn't extend beyond that. Like when I moved, a lot of those issues resolve themselves. So, sometimes you just gotta, depending on where you are, I don't know, it could be like something with that environment. But, all right. So yeah, things really quickly, before I wrap up, just to kind of, I already talked about my videos, what to expect. Like I said, I'm running a few different series right now, the cover series, the Curated Legacy podcast. What else am I doing? The cover series, the Curated Legacy podcast. And then just like my regular videos. So you'll be seeing different things from me, but just know that I'm doing the best I can. I'm a one-woman show. My daughter is actually interested in media. So one of these, I'm hoping to kind of train her to help me out here one of these days soon. But until then, it's just me. If you guys want to become a channel member, that's definitely something you can do. I have the Black and Invisible channel membership. It's $3 a month, or there's another tier for $10 a month. I'm just going to do some self-promotions, shameless plug real quick. I have 2 books on Amazon. One is my Memoir of an Invisible Black Woman, and you can get the ebook or you can get the paperback book. I have a Black-owned store. So all these links are on my YouTube page. I have a Black-owned store on Amazon as well. If you're looking for, and I don't say enough about this, but anything, okay, so if something is in my Black-owned store, I have personally used the product. I don't put anything in my store that I haven't used and I haven't tested out. And the soaps, the shea butters, some of that stuff I've been using for like 10 years and more. And I'm big on like natural things like soap. Like I mainly use like shea butter and like natural lotions and stuff like that. So just wanted to say that if you guys are looking for, I know I have a lot of men who don't care about this, but but you should care. Like you should care. I always try to talk to my husband about, you use the shea butter. That's important. Use the mango butter. Actually, I've been into mango butter lately. But yeah, I do have that. The link is on my page. What else? I don't know. I'm a coach, so if you guys either want to start your own YouTube channels, or if you know of people who want to start their own YouTube channels, I offer YouTube coaching, and that is something you'll be hearing more about. But you can go to my website to get more information about my coaching, my consulting, as well as my speaking service. I'm gonna definitely leave out a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah, I think those are probably the main things. I think I can't remember at this point. It's so much stuff. Okay, I'm gonna read these final comments, and then I know I need to let you go. Stefan is saying, no, the Igbos, some of the most beautiful women in the world. Well, I would have to agree with that. Thank you, Stefan. I don't know if that's about me, but I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Oh, okay, you're in Virginia. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know why that would be happening in Virginia. Antics semantics, Stefan, 80% of us are Igbo. Okay. What is it? Okay, you guys are just going back and forth. And okay, yeah, you guys are funny. All right, well, I am going to end on this note. Let me end while I'm ahead before I say something crazy. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Keep supporting the channel. Support independent media. Okay, I promise you, I'm about to be done. I feel like I'm spitting all in the on my computer. But guys, please support all of the, and not just me, but whoever your favorite YouTubers are. Y'all have to understand that things are changing. So, okay, again, I know I need to end this, but and you guys didn't ask for this this information, but like I wanted to be in media for so long. And one of the things you have to understand, not everybody who's a YouTuber, but a lot of us have a goal. Like we always wanted to do, to like, and the one thing people say, oh, I've always wanted to be on TV. You used to hear that, oh, I want to be on TV. And that can mean many different things. One of the things that shocked, and I never said I wanted to be on TV, but I did say, and I wrote this in a notebook when I was in middle school. I wrote, and this is crazy, I wrote that I want to be a writer, a poet, and a producer. I don't even think I knew what it meant to be a producer. I don't even think I knew what that meant. I was like, oh, I want to be a producer. And I became a writer. I became a poet. I used to have my own open mic. And YouTube is like the production, right? And even though it's low budget, but it's still production. And it surprised me when I looked at my analytics and I saw that 20% of my viewers, this was a couple months ago, 20% of my viewers actually watch me on TV. And I was like, wow, it was big, because it was like this whole notion of, I don't want to be on TV. When people say that, like YouTube is your opportunity to be on TV. Like seriously. And, I just wanted to say, please support Black independent, especially Black independent media. That is what this is. And not just me, but there were some other folks on here like Dr. Thunder, Broken Traditions, and as well as with his podcast, Wins and Lessons. We all invest our time, our money. And when I say money, it's like, all the things that we have to get to, create videos. And like, we understand the landscape that actually traditional media is dying out. So think about it. Like, how often are you running to CNN or running to MSNBC? No, most of the time you're getting your news from who? Anton Daniels. Like Anton, I get a lot of news from him. You're getting your news from like independent people. So I just wanted to say, for those of you who, again, if you want to do YouTube yourself, or if you know someone, or if you're like me and you consume it, please keep supporting it. because it's so important that, you know, and again, I know I'm a little like, I'm not like a old breaking news type of channel. I'm not that, but however you're getting your information, you know, it, it's important to continue to support us, because we really are here for you, and we really are going to give you a perspective that the traditional media folks are not going to give you, right? And sometimes I'm up real late digging all into all types of stuff to make sure that I put out accurate information. So again, I just wanted to say that it's so important. Please support please support independent Black media. And in my case, Black woman-owned independent media, curated legacy media. That is my business. That is my baby. And you will be seeing a lot more from me as well. So, all right. Read these last. Thank you, Danny. Thank you if you stayed on this whole time. Wow. That means a lot to me, because boy, oh boy, I talk like, you can tell I haven't done this in a while. Let's see here. Stephen says we need you to do some collabs with some of the other feminine sisters like the Crimson Cure and Danica Marie and Dope Discussions and Chantel Simone. Okay. Yeah, totally. I actually watch all of those ladies. So, well, more so Crimson Cure will probably be the one I kind of check out more so. But thank you. They are all amazing women. And thank you, Men's Life Coaching. And then Danny says, I add people. What is it? I add people you have interviews, conversations with. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. It says keep those up. It is helping my algorithm with content I like. I love that. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening to me for over 2 hours. My dad was shining, is looking down from heaven like, you just won't stop talking. But thank you again. I'm going to end this stream, and you guys will see me next week. I'm coming at you with the Curated Legacy podcast next week, and then we'll continue with the covered series maybe the week after. All right. Have a good night, you guys. Bye.